So in this application, I'm going to teach you from scratch how to track changes, both for the first change down to the most recent changes that has been made. So now I want to, first of all, I want to create a new database. So I'll just right click and create a new database, create, okay, say REV2, and to create it, I put it inside hand. Okay, so this year I want to create it. Good. All right, so now I just copy this table from here. I want to put it inside this place. Okay, so this is the table I'm working with, and this is the table provided by you, customer. Okay, so now, and these are the various tables made. Now what I want to do, I want to create a form. So since what I want to do is just tracking, I just click on the table, click on this, and there you go. I'll save this form as example. So that's the name of the form. Then I come to this place. The default value is not 2. Everything that was here was Arabic, so I want to come here, okay, and remove this. Okay, so this is what is there. They are no longer, okay, don't allow, limit to list, yes. Okay, so now this is what was given to me, and now we want to track the changes. Now I want you to understand that if you want to track the changes to be on the data to record, you have to create an extra table. So and that table here, we are going to call the table, TBL underscore changes. Okay, so now what I want to, I'll come here, I will call it an identity that is coming from, which is ID2 according to what you gave me, and this is going to be number, okay, according to what is coming from this place. So it's coming from here and it's coming to this place. Now the second is the changes that have been made. So the value, the change value, this is going to be the change value, and it's a string. And next, the date change, the date of change, or let me call it the change date, this one, the change time. Okay, so this is going to be date and time, and this too is going to be date and time. I will change this one's format here to short time, so it's going to be the medium time, and there you go. Okay, so now to be able to track this information, I will now go straight to create a query that will help me append the data to this place. So I will come to create a query, then I double click on the example, okay, then I pick this one here, which is what I will need to track the record, and I want to append this data because I think this is the only thing I will need, and I also need this field, but this field will be tracked from this place. So this is where our point of focus is, because this is the interaction for us to pick what was changed. So what I want to do, I will now come here, go to the design, click on append. I want to append the data to TBL changes. Okay, in this current database, click on OK. as you can see, it picks up the ID, and that is not what I need. I want it to append it to ID 2 because the ID is just the default here. Remember, I can easily change this one anytime, but this one is coming from, is linked to this place. Okay, so I can just close that. Now the next thing I want to do is to get the time it was changed. Okay, and that time, we go to this place, the date it was changed. Oh, sorry for that, I just made a mistake. It will go to change date. The time here is going to PM. Okay, that's the current time. Then I will now also, I have another thing to append, and what is that? Is the current. I want to append the required field, which is this one, and append it somewhere. So where do I have to pick it from? I have to come here, build, go to this place, the form, required field. Okay, click on OK. Now I will append it to the change value, and so that is what I'm going to do. And I will just click on save, QRY, change appender. Okay, so I've saved that information, and I'm ready to go. Okay, now before I go, what I need to do here, I will need to take only one record, and that only one record, we have an association with this particular ID here, and that will make it for real. What I mean for real, I mean that is the criteria of what exactly I want to effect my change. So I just want to pick a record, and I will go to this place. Ordinarily I can type it by referencing the form, but just for this tutorial's sake, I will just come here and pick this out. You see, that's the reference to this particular example field, and by the time I come here, you discover that only one field is being infected. Don't worry about the aliases, I don't really need them, but I can easily enter aliases on my own. So in this case, I'm going to close that out. Okay, now the next thing is to pick up the code and do the work. I want you to understand that when a new record is created, if I come straight to this place and create a new record, this record is never entered until you navigate away from this record number 10. That is when it's going to be recorded. If I come to this place, I come here, you discover that that record is not entered yet. So that is one of the problems with tracking record at the first stage. If you want to just pick on the information and think it's going to record, it's not going to record it, because you have to navigate away from a particular record before this information can be stored, and so therefore you cannot track a record on this required field. Okay, so now let's assume I've finished entering the information that I want to, and I will have to navigate. Immediately I navigate away, or maybe I save or close the particular form, then the information will now be recorded. As you can see, the information is now recorded for ID number 10. Okay, so now this has a great advantage, more especially on a network drive or on a network database. This plays a great role because it is very good. It doesn't save until the particular record is being navigated away from. Okay, so now what I want you to know here is that, I want to now track the other information. So I will go straight to the design area. On the design area now, I can now come here. I want to first of all track the information. So what do I want to track? The first record that is created. So before I do that, let me first of all track this one. So to track this particular, to track every changes that is made, I will come to this place and say, after this place is updated, what I want you to do, I want you to first of all, I want you to call this particular, query here an appending query. So what I have to do, I will just call it do cmd dot open query. What is the name of the query? query change appender. Okay, so now it will call the change appender and then do the recording. But I don't want alarms. I want it to do it silently. So because I want to do silently, I have to turn off the alert that a change is about to be made on your database by using an action query. So what I have to do, I have to turn off the warning. So dot, sorry for that, okay, dot set warnings, I want to turn it false. Okay, so before I run it, then what do I want again? I want to turn it on. Set warnings, I turn it true. Okay, this to ensure that by the time you need it, it will be available here. So now I will call it and then make the changes, and that is it. Okay, so now I will come to this place. I come here, I click on this place, and there you go. If I come to this place, you see a record is created. If I come again, I click on this. Let's come here again and refresh. You see a record is created. Okay, so that is that. Good. Now the next thing we have to do is to track the record when it was first entered. Now I remember I told you the only way to track the record, the first particular data that was on this particular field or in any other field, is to make sure that in the next change that the person want to do, the user want to do to this particular application, is going to track first of all when he wants to make a change to the previous record, to the first record that was entered. What I will need to do is to track first of all what is that first value. So how do I do that? First of all, I will go straight to this place. I want to set a focus, because I have tried this several times, tried to do it before. It keeps on taking the value that you want to work on. So the only way to do that is to do it once. And how to do that without duplicate? So how to do that to avoid confusion for the database? I will go to when it first of all got its focus. So when it gets its focus, what do I want to do? I want to declare a statement. I will say dim CVA, which I mean with the word current value. So as sorry for that, as string. Okay, so and also ROS dim ROS record set as DAO. This is an object library dot record set. Okay, so now what do I want to do? I want to set my CVA to be equal to me dot, that is the current field, required field, okay, which is the value that is there, that is the, and ROS will be equal to the current database, current DB dot open record set. I want to open the record set for what? I want to open the record set for TBL changes. So there is something I want to do, and you are going to get that now. I want to create a record directly. So now what I want to do here is to say that the present CV, the CVA value is already entered. So what I want to do now, I will take first of all the value, and that value is going to be the current data that is available here on this particular place. So remember, it is on get focus. So that was a mistake. Okay, so now what I want to do here, I want to automatically use a VBA code to write the current value without duplicate. So how do I do that? First of all, I have to use a function which is if I want to first of all check, does it have any record related to this present record on the TBL changes table? If yes, don't run this code on got focus. But if no, I want you to run this code. So how do I do that? Say if it's null, that is to say if it's not found, dlookup. I want to look up the value of what? I want to look up change value. I want to check it if it is null for what? For TBL changes. Okay, so now I want to look up where I'm using a criteria where ID2, where the ID2 is equals what? And is equals me.id. Good, me.id. So what I want to do there, if, sorry for that, I have to close the bracket very well. Good. And if. Okay. So what I mean by that is, if this value, if you look up this particular table, look up to the field and check if there is a value already there that is relating to this particular record I'm working with that has this present ID. If it is not found, then I want you to now I want you to help me keep track of the current value before this person makes a change. And this record I want to track is only one record alone without duplicate, and that is the first record, because I want this query to keep on doing its work by keeping track of every changes that the record make, that the user make instantly. While I'm going to take a particular change, I'm going to take the particular value that was existing before. So after taking that value for this record, this particular code will no longer be useful anymore, but it will always be skipping it forever. Okay, so now what I want to do in this case is to go straight and start my query. So first of all, I will open ros.add_new. I want to create add new. So what I want to do here, I want to create a new value straight with a code. Okay, now the next thing to do here, I want to create a new record. So I will start with ros.add_new because I want to add a new record. So the next thing, where do I want to add new? First of all, ros, I want to add new record. I want to add data. I want to add value to id_2. Okay, I want it to be equal to me.id. Good. I need to say the value of my ID. Then secondly, I want to also add value to change value, and that change value here will be equal to what? The value that was changed, which is, this is where I'm calling from now, CVA. Okay, so I will pick that current value. Good. Now ros, I want to also go to the time and date. So change date will be equal to will be equal to current date, and ros into change time will be equals time. Good, which is the current time, and this one is the current date. Okay, so now as you can see, the next thing I have to do, I have to now update the value. Good. If I don't tell it to update the value, it's not going to create that record. So, and that is it. If it discovered that if this place is false, if it is false, after checking it and discover that there is a record already existing, it will skip and come down to this place, and that is it. It ends the subroutine, and then it will now go straight to this particular one, because this one comes first. If you click on it, it has gotten a focus before this one can come in after update. So, and that is how it's going to work. It will work perfectly without any form of error. So in this particular case, we will not need that because we've already tracked this information already here, which is for ID1. So in this case now, what we want to do, okay, it seems that's gotten some errors. Let me check what error it got. It said invalid use of property. Okay, so it's supposed to be, supposed to be set, okay, ROS. Okay, so let me cancel that. So if you check it very well, discover that this one, I want to run the value. So to run the value, this one is no longer needed here because I have already a value already there. So I want to go straight to where we don't have record already. So you see, anytime it gets a focus, is ready to work. Okay, so now I want to delete that. Okay, so in this case, I want to go to, okay, let's see record number 4. Now what I want to do, I will come here. As soon as I click on this, a record is already created. Even if without changing it, you discover that nothing is recorded. Come here, you see, a record is already created for value number this. So even if I now come again to this place without changing any value, without updating any value, a record will no longer be created for number 4. Why? Because it's already tracked. You see it now. But when I go to number 5 here, and I come here, immediately it gets a focus like this. Immediately I click on this or just click here, it's already taking a value, and you see it's already tracked. And that is how the first record is here. But I want you to understand that at first, when the record is taken, there is not going to be any form of tracking until the value until the person wants to change the value. So if the user wants to change the value, then it will collect it. Reason being that Microsoft Access, we only save the record when you navigate away from that new record that you created. And so therefore, there is no code we can add that will track it, but we can track it in the future when the changes want to be made. Then we can track the first record, and that is what we have as a problem here in this particular case. But nevertheless, just remember that we did something to track that first record that was made. Okay, so but if on the other hand, we can still do this by picking this particular date to be, because this particular date is the first date that this record was made. Remember that. So in order to do that particular effect, what I need to do for this date, all I need to do now is just say me dot there is a particular, let me check it out and check the value what this one is here. Okay, one ID. So I will go straight and say me dot one I. There's a value there. Is something one ID. So it should be at the top. Me dot one ID. One ID. So it's one ID anyway. So but if I cannot track that, because what is here is me.one ID. So if I cannot track that, I can give it a new name here, a coding name. And that coding name is, let me call it, since it's date, I can call it rec date. So it depends on what you want to call yours, rec date. So I can call it rec date. So when I go straight to this place now, first of all, let me save that changes. So when I come to this place, I can say e.rec date. So that means that I have finally succeeded in taking the dates where that particular person actually collected, that particular user first of all recorded that first changes. So it will no longer need the first date. So that is the success of how it's going to work. So having known that, it's very, very simple now. So if I want to keep any changes in the future regarding ID number 1, first of all, it will first of all take the first one which is already taken here. You can see the first one has been taken. You see that is the particular date and the time based on the value that is here. So by the time I now do my next change, the query will now run. come to display, query has run for this one. You can see it changes again. I change the value, changes to this again. What do you have? It has changed again, like that, like that, like that. So that is the success, and I believe you understand what I have taught so far. Thank you very, very much. But finally, before I go, I need to grade this place out because it's not needed. So I will just come here. In this example, date, like this, it picks up the default value is the date, and I can just gray it out, disable it so that the user does not need that. So immediately you create a new record. The particular date is recorded. Also, I can still blank this out, but depends on you. I can still disable this because this one you don't need to input any data, and then only what you need is this ones. And so that is how it works. So thank you very much for listening.